So in science today we're going to be learning about animal habitats. We're going to be looking a little bit more in depth of what these are, what happens if they change, and the effects that they have on the animals. Now I know we've done a lot of work on habitats, so we're going to be progressing that onto thinking about how animals can be affected if these habitats change. So I want you to just pause the video now. I want you to think about the three or more important things that animals need in a habitat, or what a habitat includes for an animal to be able to survive. So just pause the video now. Can you write down the things that you think an animal needs to survive, and then play the video and we'll see if we've got the same as you. So the first is food. Obviously we need food in order to be able to survive. We cannot live on food, humans or animals, so it's so important that there is food available and water. They also need shelter to protect themselves against weather or other predators, and they also need a safe place and the shelter to help when they're having their children, to protect their children from other predators as well. So in a second you're going to have a go at matching up the animals with their habitat. They are quite straightforward, so they should be quite easy for you to have a go at doing, but please make sure that you are making sure that they are accurate and understanding why. So they're going to be a frog, a polar bear, a monkey and a bird, and the habitats are nests, a jungle or a forest, the Arctic, or somewhere really cold, and a pond. So what I would like you to do is write number 1, a frog's habitat is, and then tell me which one is the frog's habitat. Number 2, the polar bear's habitat is. Number 3, the monkey's habitat is. And number 4, the bird's habitat is. Okay, if you can expand on your sentences and expand to say, I know that the frog's habitat is the because, and you can tell me a little bit more about it, thinking about that they like to live in water or around water. Like the polar bear needs somewhere cold because of its thick fur. The monkey needs somewhere quite warm, also eats a lot of bananas, so obviously they need to grow in a hot country as well. And obviously the bird, thinking about why their habitat is specific to them. So when you write your sentences, you can expand on them. So I think the frog's habitat is because, and then tell me why you think that. Okay, once you've had a go at doing that, press play and we'll see if you've got the correct ones. Okay, you should have obviously said the frog lives in the pond because it likes to be around water. It's obviously an amphibian, so it can breathe in and out of water as well. The polar bear lives in the Arctic. It's obviously white, so it's camouflaged with the snow. It's also got thick fur and blubber to keep it warm in the winter, in the cold. The monkey lives in a jungle or forest because it needs a hot country, a hot, humid climate for the bananas to grow, for it to survive and to live, as it's got obviously quite a thin fur. And finally, the bird lives in the nest because obviously the nests are built at the very top of trees to protect from other predators like cats or anything like that from getting the bird. Okay, so humans, we have changed and adapted in so many ways to survive. So I want you to think of how have our environments changed, even in the years that you've been alive, even in the years of your parents or grandparents. What has happened over the last, say, 100 years or longer to really change our environments to help us survive? Press pause now, and I just want you to have a think, and then we'll see if we've come up with the same ideas. Okay, some ideas that you could have come up with are that obviously the environments have changed due to the technology, the changes in technology, and because there's been so much more computers, internet, things like that, that obviously we've been able to adapt to communicate a lot more with other people, not just in our country, but with other countries as well. So able to communicate, to talk about different deals and different transferring food, and obviously because of things like airplanes and ships that we can ship the food and fly the food over or drinks over from different countries. Then you've obviously got things like in the cities, a lot more buildings, so greater buildings, more places for people to live, so obviously for the shelter for them, especially in the bigger cities, more places for people to work. So these are just some ideas that you could have come up with. So now I want you to think about this word extinct and have a think about what this word could mean. So in your books, can you write a sentence to say, I think the word extinct means, and then tell me about what you think it means. Once you have done that, press play and we'll see if you've got the same idea. Okay, so extinct means that there are no more of that species or animal left in the world. So in the whole world, there is no more of that animal left. So we're going to have a look at a few examples now of some different animals that have become extinct either recently or a lot further in the past. So before we get started, I want you to just draw a little grid in your book saying extinct and living, and I want you to have a look at these animals here. Which ones do you think are still living today and which ones are no longer around or on the planet today? So I want you to write the names of these animals in the boxes below, and then you can also add a few of your own as well if there's any more you can think of that you can add as well. Press play once you have done that and we'll go through the answers. Okay, so you should have said that a dog was living because some of you have got dogs as pets. A lion is obviously still living. There's a lot of lions there, not extinct. A panda is still alive, however they are endangered, which we're going to be looking at today as well. A tiger, okay, tigers are living, however a Javan tiger is a type of tiger that is no longer around. It's become extinct and there's no more of them left. A dodo, that is an extinct type of bird. An elephant obviously is still living today. And a fox is obviously still around today. And finally, a woolly mammoth and a sabre-toothed tiger are two other animals that are no longer on the planet, so they are extinct. So I want you to think about now, why do you think these animals are extinct? What do you think happened to the animals for them to become extinct? So I want you to pause the video now and write a sentence of why you think these animals might be extinct, why they're not around anymore. So just write, I think these animals are extinct because, and then tell me your reason why. And then once you've done that, let's press play and we're going to have a look to see the reasons why. Okay, so why are animals extinct? We know that they're extinct because some people have hunted them and killed them, so there's no more left because they've all been killed or eaten or hunted. Other reasons are because their food runs out, so if they haven't got enough food, obviously they can't survive, so therefore they can die out as well. And finally, some become extinct because the places they live change, so that things their habitats might be destroyed, so that there isn't a shelter there for them to be able to be in, so maybe other animals as well might obviously the predators might be there to kill them as well. Okay, so different changes to environment, to food, and human impact or other animal impacts can lead to the extinction. Okay, so I want you now to think of which animals have we already learnt about that have become extinct. So just have a think of them in your head. Just pause the video. As soon as you've thought of a few, press play and we'll see if you've got the same one as I have. Okay, in year 3 we learnt about the dinosaurs. Now obviously dinosaurs are not around today, so they became extinct. Now I want you to do a bit of mini retrieval and I want you to tell me, write a little paragraph to tell me why did the dinosaurs become extinct. Okay, so there is a reason why, and think about those 3 things that happened that means it could lead to a dinosaur becoming extinct. Something about the habitat changing, there might be something that came down from the sky, have a think about what that was that made the dinosaur extinct, and then how did that cause the habitats to change, what happened to the habitats and the plants leading to the dinosaurs becoming extinct. Okay, so pause the video now, write a few sentences, and then once you've done that, press play and we'll see if you've got the same reasons as I have. Okay, you should have said that the dinosaurs became extinct because a meteorite, the story is that a meteorite came down from space which crashed onto Earth. Now because of this it sent up fumes and fumes of ash into the air which blocked the sunlight, and obviously because the sunlight was blocked, this meant that all the plant life couldn't grow, so obviously that meant if the plants couldn't grow, then the herbivores and the dinosaurs that only ate plants, they died out because they couldn't have anything to eat, and obviously led to carnivores dying out as well because there were no other dinosaurs for them to eat. Okay, so that's how they become extinct, as they eventually over time lost, the habitat changed, and the other animals were hunted as well by, obviously the carnivores were eating the herbivores. Okay, here are just a few extinct animals that some you might have heard of, some you might not. So there's the dodo, the woolly mammoth, the West African black rhino, the great auk, and the sabre-toothed cat. Okay, so here are just a few that are extinct animals. You might have heard of some if you've watched Ice Age. Obviously there's Manny the Mammoth on there, so that's obviously, you can see where we've used these type of extinct animals, but we're also using them today to still remember that those animals were alive, but a very, very long time ago. So we're just going to go through a few of them. So sabre-toothed cat. This, he was around about 10,000 years ago, which is a long, long time ago, and they had really big teeth, so they could catch the food and ate things like mammoths, so they were around about the same time as the mammoths as well. However, they obviously died out, and when other animals became extinct as well. Okay, so their habitat, they lived in the grassland and pine forest where they could drink from lakes and rivers. So obviously we know that they needed the water and the food to survive. However, they became extinct around the time of the mammoths as well, and therefore obviously they lost their food supply as well. Okay, the woolly mammoth then. So they became extinct about 4,000 years ago, so a bit sooner than the saber-toothed tiger. Okay, and they were hunted by people for their meat and fur. So the woolly mammoth ate leaves and plants, and they died out because their habitat disappeared and because of climate change. Now we are going to be going on to climate change over the next few lessons, so don't worry too much about that at the minute. But one of the main reasons why they died out was that they were being killed for people to eat, and for the fur to have as coats and clothes as well. Okay, so because of that, obviously the woolly mammoth became extinct. Okay, you can see the difference. It kind of looks a bit like a big elephant. Okay, it's got big tusks though, and they were very fluffy rather than being more of a skin, which is on. Okay, these are some animals that at the minute are in danger of becoming extinct. Okay, they're called endangered animals because they're in danger, they've got the risk of becoming extinct. So we've got the elephant, the Arthur leopard, the sea turtle, the gorilla, the orangutan, and the tiger. Okay, so these are just some animals which are at real risk that if we don't change things, that these animals will become extinct. So your task today is that you're going to be researching one or multiple of these animals to tell me about the threats to them being extinct. So what they are, why they are extinct, and what can we do to help. Those are the type of questions that you want to be answering. So here are just a few examples of some animals you may wish to choose. So obviously you've got a sea turtle, a polar bear, red squirrel, gorilla, tiger, rhinoceros, giant panda, orangutan, and elephants. You may also find some other animals that are nearly becoming extinct, that are endangered, that you may wish to tell me about as well. So you could set it up something that looks like this. You could draw a picture of the animal. You could then tell me the name of the animal, tell me where it is in the world. So obviously the polar bear is in the Arctic Circle. You could say that why is it threatened, so why is it a threat to become endangered. You could tell me a little bit more about this animal and go into lots of detail about this animal, and maybe give me a did you know fact. So this is just one way you could set it up. Now if you're doing this amount of work, I would expect to see 2 or 3 animals. However, if you're really going to go into depth onto one animal and do a full A4 piece of paper going into lots of detail about that animal, then obviously you can just do the one animal. But you need to judge it and think about what work would you be doing in school and what can you be doing at home. Okay, so if you know that this is how much you're going to do, I expect a few animals, rather than if you're going to go into lots and lots of detail, I expect to see maybe one animal with full of an A4 page of different facts about that animal and different information.